Okay, we're back on. So yeah, this is Maximising Enrolments for 2022. I guess before we start, if everyone can kind of put in the chat, if you guys want, what state you guys are in, and also whether you use OWNA already or not. I know the majority of people would use OWNA, and yeah, obviously would like to see who isn't, and obviously if it can bring you guys value either way. So yeah, so as I mentioned before, I'm Jack, work at OWNA. So what you'll learn today is, first of all, we're going to look at how to distinguish your services from competitors in the area. Obviously a big thing if you live in quite a heavily populated area. We're going to look at how to prepare a marketing campaign for opening enrolments. I think that term, like campaign, can seem a little bit scary sometimes, but yeah, it's not as intense as it probably seems. It's just about setting up how to get people to enroll. Then we're going to look at how to get seen ahead of your competitors and how to kind of get that awareness, and then move on to converting that awareness into signups, re-enrolments, and all that kind of stuff. So let's get started. So the first one, when you're looking at your competition, I like to think that there's two people that you should really care about within your marketing, and that's obviously the families, and then on the other side, the competitors. So I like to kind of look at the competitors and see what they're doing. Whether that you look at their website, the social media, see particularly on the website, the About Us page, you can see kind of what they say about themselves and how they position themselves to the families. If you look at social media, see what posts are engaging with families well, and what posts aren't, and see what you can replicate and perhaps make better. Also, I'd like to do like a Google search. So if you said preschool near me or daycare in the suburb you're in, like see what comes up first, see who comes up ahead of you, who comes up behind you, see what reviews they've got, all that kind of stuff. So yeah, you want to look at the aspects of their service, see what the family's like, based on interactions that you can see, and then how can you improve on what they have, and how can you communicate that better. So I've just got a couple more in the waiting room, so I'm just adding those in now. So yeah, so we're looking at establishing the point of difference, and one thing that so yeah, these are the 6 biggest drivers of increasing occupancy. So number one is a value add, is mainly to do with like curriculum and programs and activities. I know one of our centers, Rise and Shine, they have a team called Soccer de Brazil that come in and just obviously play soccer with them. And then also they've got like their own Shine Advantage curriculum. So that would be an example of a value add there. The other one is intimate care, obviously for younger kids like babies and younger toddlers and stuff. And the third one is better nutrition, which obviously speaks for itself. Longer hours, mixing ages. Obviously, if you did 0 to 3 versus 0 to 5, 0 to 5 is obviously going to attract more families. And then the 6th one is greater flexibility. So obviously we know lots of families, lead different lives, different hours of the day. So yeah, the flexibility there. So if that is any that you guys do, then communicating that is a good way to get that engagement, and then to also look attractive to families. So we spoke about the competitors and the difference. So the second group of people will be your families. So we'll like to bring them through what's called the funnel. So to explain a funnel is essentially what your idea of an ideal family typically does in order to enroll in your center. And when we're talking about an ideal family, that is the person that your marketing efforts are designed to attract. So you can use like kind of past experiences on what your current families are like, and you obviously market to the similar kind of person. So that's obviously easier said than done. So we like to use what's called a persona to create your idea of an ideal family and actually bring that to life. So the persona is a one-page summary about your ideal family, and I'll show you an example in the next slide. So what you would tend to go for with the ideal family would be things like demographics, like the age, job, location, the goals and frustrations, what they want, their motivations, and their preferred channels. So what do they use? Do they use Facebook, Instagram? Do they use Facebook groups in particular? Do they travel a lot, listen to radio ads, things like that? And there's a platform called Extensio, which I'm going to send this PDF to everyone afterwards. And if you click this link, it's a free tool, what you can use to create that persona. And this is an example of it now. So this is all, a free platform and stuff. And okay, so this is all a free platform. And there's different areas. You don't have to fill all of these in. It's probably best if you don't know to leave it alone. But obviously, if you do know, the more information you can get, the better. So we'll talk about the demographics here. Location's obviously important. The work, it can differ, but obviously depending on the area you're from, there might be a typical kind of area that they might be in. The age, obviously, depending on the families. And then the other one is brands and influencers. So, this could be anything from Coles and Kmart to, baby brands and things like that. And the goals and frustrations, obviously, they should relate to childcare and early education. What frustrations they might have if they live in a rural area. One of the frustrations might be to sorry, I just got a question there from Rachel. Are you making this for everyone family enrolled? Sorry, could you expand on that question a bit? I'll do me best to answer this. But it will include obviously families that are already enrolled. So that preferred channels, whether it's Facebook, Instagram, whatever they use, obviously put that in there. And if you want, you can put a bio in there to kind of bring it to life. Say these are the Johnsons, they live in this area, they do this, and this is their life, if that helps you. So with the template, you don't make it for every family who enroll. This is just one template for everyone. So this is your ideal family. If you've got two types of families that come to your service, by all means, like make two. But ideally this would just be a one-page document that kind of just sits in your office, and whenever you're doing things like Facebook ads or Google ads or post, and you should always have this ideal family in the back of your mind, in terms of, if I make these guys happy, then everyone who fits within my ideal template should include tons of families in the area. So okay, so we're onto the funnel now, which is just I guess it's like jargon, but to simplify it, it goes, before people know who you are, they obviously need to be made aware. So an example of this might be, they might see your ad on Facebook, and that's the awareness. So to move from awareness to consideration, they would click on your ad and go to your website. Once they're on your website and they're going through it and having a look at all the information, they're then considering. So that's the consideration phase. If your website is doing what it should be doing and getting them to book a tour, you're leading them down towards conversion. Obviously, I know when they book a tour, they are still considering, because they might book a tour for other places, but they're kind of moving from this part of consideration to this part of consideration. And then what you guys do when you book the tour, when you follow up with emails, phone calls, and all that sort of stuff, is trying to move them into conversion, or in this case, enrollment. And then this part here is kind of where you guys, do what you do best. So you create the service that the families are happy with, which obviously, you guys are still in business, so you must be. So yeah, that's when you get towards re-enrolment and you get towards word of mouth, which is really, really important. In OWNA's case, like they grew so much just from word of mouth, and then got marketing in later. But this word of mouth, basically, it's almost like a loop, because when they tell another family about your service, well, now that family has just been made aware up here, and then they go through the process as well. So these are just examples, obviously not exactly what happens, but it's just what can happen. So when you're designing a funnel, as I mentioned before, think about how your ideal family goes from not knowing about your service at all to actually enrolling. And what does that look like? Like, put down all the steps to what happens or what can happen. A great way to do this would be, especially with awareness, which I'll touch on later, is when they have an inquiry form, you can put on there, how did you hear about us? And if people put word of mouth, Facebook, whatever, any common themes there, you can use that to create your funnel. So an example I used here was a family Google search childcare near me, or preschool near me. They went to your website, went through a couple of pages, filled out an inquiry form to book a tour. You called them and they booked in a time with you. And then they turned up at the service, and in an ideal world, met by the centre director and agreed to sign up there and then after seeing your amazing service. But it's important to be realistic. So obviously we all want our ideal families, or all families in general, to just go, oh, I know that centre, ring them up, I want to enroll. But obviously it's a lot harder than that. So yeah, like when you're creating your ideal family, when you're creating your funnel, you should base it on your past experiences. So yeah, I used that example before. How did you hear about us? So again, with the ideal family, you can go really, really deep into it, but I think it's important, especially when we're, just starting out, to not be fancy with it, and whatever you can understand, implement, and is simple for you to do, just do that. So yeah, whether that's a 3-step process, a 5-step process, or whatever, just start by listing out what typically families do to get to the point of enrolment and start from there. Okay, so once you've listed out everything, you want to start from the bottom. So we're starting from the conversion bit. So when somebody wants to enroll, what is the process that they take? So we're talking about after they've booked a tour, or after they've made contact with you, how do they get from there to actually enrolling? And are there any systems that you can put in place to make it easier for them and also easier for you? So one thing that is probably really important in this is the potential of automated emails. So let's say someone booked a tour and they've kind of gone cold, and across the next week or two, you're thinking, oh, well, should I chase them up? Should I call them? And that might take time out of your day, which I know that a lot of you guys are strapped for time as it is. So some automated emails that say, well, after a week or 2 weeks after they've signed up to book the tour, let's say they signed up to book the tour and did the tour a week later, then a week after that, there's an automated email to say, give us some feedback if you didn't like it, or here's an enrolment form, or contact us, or anything like that. So anything that kind of takes the burden off you and also makes it easier for them to convert is, a blessing for both of you. So the free tool for this would be Mailchimp. So Mailchimp, it has a paid version, but it also has a free version. And if you are a smaller service, or even a single center service, the free one should be enough. So the free version of Mailchimp, you can link it to, so if someone's on your website and they click to book a tour, you can link that up to immediately join your wait list or immediately get captured as a lead. And then you can do your auto reply and send out email newsletters. You can do all of this stuff to kind of, they call it lead nurturing, basically, to just keep in contact with those families. And if they aren't ready to enroll right there and then, if you email them once a week, they're still in your mind, you're still in their mind. So when they do want to enroll, they know that you're the option to go to. And to kind of tie this in with OWNA, it's integrate. OWNA's got integration with Mailchimp, so you can export all that data that you've got in OWNA to help with waitlist management. And obviously, waitlists are great for if you're looking at enrolments now. If you had a waitlist from last year, then perfect, right? You've got a list of emails that you can now send out to everyone. You know, Mailchimp's features to make it look all fancy and stuff, and yeah, that obviously takes the burden off of you. So that's your conversion from the booking the tour or the inquiring to actually converting. But when we're thinking about consideration, this is probably the most important part for you guys, especially when you're thinking about competitors. So how do we get people to actually click a button and actually fill out an inquiry form or book a tour or do essentially what we want them to do? So this is going to be most likely done by your website. So my tips, obviously these differ from person to person, but what I've found works is on your website, you should identify at least the main priority, what you want a family to do. And this goes back to your ideal family again. If most of your families book tours, you should want the person on your website to book a tour. If most of them just do a contact us inquiry, then you should use that. But you can have both if there's a mixture, but I would say do more than two. So 2 ideas of what you want them to do, no more, and just focus on that. So similar with the inquiry forms, like, are you using too many fields? So I know with OWNA's old website, some of you might know, when you filled out the Get Free app, there was so much information about your name, the centre's name, your number, the centre's number, the centre's address, this and that. And then when you filled it in, there would be some qualifying questions, and sometimes they were repeated. So I looked and I seen some drop off because there was just quite a lot there. So yeah, just shortening those down. Like, is the information that they're putting in that inquiry form, do you need that? If you don't need the dog's name, then don't put the dog's name in. And yeah, the most important one would be to just stick to the point. So don't overload families with information. Yes, you've got an amazing centre. Yes, you do this and that, but the goal should always be to make the family do what you want them to do, and to book a tour, inquire, enroll, whatever that may be.
Okay.
So am I sharing this? As in sharing what exactly? I'll be sharing this recording, if that's what you're referring to, Fina. Yeah, this is recorded and then sent out, and then anyone can watch it. And I'll also be sharing the PDFs with all you guys when it finishes. So yeah. Okay, so the tools that you would use for your website and for the consideration would be, again, free tools. So Hotjar is something that I use for video recordings. It's got a free version and a paid version, but again, the free version is good enough. Basically, everyone who set it up, everyone who comes on your website, what they do is recorded. So you can look at all the data in the world, but if you've got some recordings there where you can actually see, let's say this is a button that I want them to press, and someone's reading through, you can see the mouse going through and reading through, and then they might read lots and lots of information, give up, and then go and leave the website, whereas your goal was to get them to hit that button. So you might say to yourself, oh, well, I'll just cut that information because I know that the attention is being lost here. So yeah, that's probably the best tool that you can use, especially if you're a beginner, because it's easy to be overwhelmed with all these numbers and like I've got here the bounce rate and think, well, what does that mean? If you can see an actual recording I think the free version allows you to have up to 100 recordings, and you can see what they're doing actually in real time. It also allows you to use heat maps. So you set it up, and for 1,000 people that go on your web page, it shows you which things have been clicked the most, which things have been scrolled past the most, and you can kind of cut out stuff, add stuff in, and figure it out that way. And then the other one is Google Analytics. So this one's a little bit more advanced, and you can really dive deep into this, like setting up conversions and some really insightful things. But if you're going to use it simply, I would say to just look at the bounce rate. So if you don't know what a bounce rate is, it's basically when if somebody lands on your website, on your homepage, if they look at your homepage and leave without clicking anything or going into another page, that will be called a bounce. And what that would suggest is that what's on your website isn't enticing to them, or it isn't what they were looking for. So you might put ads out for, preschool in Zetland, but you might live in Bella Vista. Obviously, that's not what they're looking for. So they would bounce. So then you would know what to put the ads out for, and then what to also put in your website to make them stay and to make them go further in and go back to that consideration, get them further down and considering your service. So the top one that we mentioned before was awareness. So we're working backwards. And yeah, this is obviously how do we get families to know that we exist. And the two main tools to use are Google and Facebook, because they've got a suite of tools themselves. And there are other things. There are TV ads and radio ads, and yeah, they are localized, and there's groups and forums and all this stuff. But for me, given the fact that the audience is so big, like almost everyone's on Facebook and almost everybody is searching on Google, so why wouldn't you tap into that? And also the customizable nature of it. So if you only want to spend $1 a day, you only spend $1 a day. If you only want to pay 50 cents for someone to click on your website, you only pay 50 cents. You can customize the location. You can put it in within a 5-kilometer radius of your center, all that kind of stuff. You can put in people's interests, people's ages, everything. So in terms of like return on investment, Google and Facebook is the way to go, because you can, again, when you've got your ideal family, you can literally put the information from your ideal family into Facebook and say, send this to people who are like this person. So yeah, that's the paid stuff. And then obviously there's the organic reach of doing your search engine stuff, and then you post them on your social media platforms, which is good if you're good at it, and it takes a long time. But the paid stuff is the stuff that gets you those results straight away. Okay, so if we're going to look at the organic stuff from Google, we'll start with Google and then we'll go to Facebook. So yeah, this is Google My Business, which I guess most of you probably have a Google My Business listing. And these are just some tips to make it better, right? So I looked at, I think I typed in preschool near me, and then I took a screenshot of this. So I'm actually based in Zetland, but for some reason it showed me first Marrickville Road Preschool, which I'm saying near me, that's not as near to me as some other places. But it could be because I look for preschool and there's not many preschools around. It could be a load of factors. But if I looked at the Marrickville Road Preschool listing, this is a pretty good listing. So they've put the suburb in there, which obviously the first two and that one have. I think it gives you anyway. But the location comes up in 3 places, obviously the directions, the suburb here, and then it shows you on the map. It's got the keyword in. So if I typed in long daycare near me, Marrickville Road Preschool wouldn't come up, but that's fine because we're looking for preschools. We're not looking for long daycare centres. So they've put it in. Again, there's one here and one there and one there, and then it's also in the actual name. similar with this early learning centre. If you've got a Google My Business listing and you've got, let's say, a Tillman Park ELC, I'll probably change that to early learning centre, because people are more likely to search for an early learning than search for like ELC. You know what I mean? Because again, that's like jargon, words that a family probably wouldn't use. When we spoke about the longer hours being a key factor, obviously this one's come up at the top, and this closes at 5:30. This one down here closes at 4 p.m, but this one hasn't got it at all. So this one could be good for, you know, if you do have longer hours, to put that out there so it seems more attractive to a family. And then the top one, the one that probably matters the most, well, definitely matters the most, is the reviews. You can see the difference. They've got 9 here, they've got 1 there, and they've got none. If you can get your families to put reviews out about your preschool, then you'll jump up the listings like so much. And again, it goes back to that, if we're looking at the funnel, which was back here, it's in this part now. We're in advocacy, word of mouth, and again, that's how that links back to awareness, because they're saying this is great, obviously the advocacy side of it, but also it's jumping your listing up. So yeah, some quick tips for that is utilize every single feature on Google My Business. If it's there, if it's free, do it. Because this is owned by Google as well, so they want you using every single feature. So, and then the other one is that your website performance impacts your result. So if you, like, this is why we work backwards. If you make your website in tip-top condition and then you go on to doing this stuff, your results from doing this stuff are going to be so much better, because your website's going to perform better. Because Google basically looks and sees, well, we want people to spend the most time on Google, so we want them to get the answers that they need through Google. So they're going to look at your website and say, well, if they're solving the problems of the people searching, then that's good for us, because people are going to associate Google with solving my problem. So it all kind of goes into each other. So then we'll go on to the paid stuff from Google. So I just got I searched some stuff around near me, and I obviously got GA education and OAC. Google ads can be very complicated, and you can waste a lot of money if you're not doing it right. So I've again tried to keep it really, really simple, and just a couple of rules to put in place that hopefully, you know, you can get a good return on investment. So first of all, you just look at how much can you afford to spend. Like I mentioned before, like if you only want to spend $5 a day, like you only spend $5 a day. And then you look at obviously the keywords and phrases that you should use. So whatever service you offer, whether it's vacation care, OSH services, long day care, put that in, put the location in. You can put that in the keyword, because that's what people would search, and you can also put it in your location targeting. And once you get in there, it'll make sense. If you've never seen it before, this might not make a lot of sense to you, but again, I'm going to send this to you. So when you've got Google Ads up, just get this page up and then implement these rules, and it should save you a bit of cash. Yeah, so the rules would be, for every $5 of your daily budget, use 1 keyword or phrase. So obviously $20, 4 keywords. And then target your location. So obviously you look at the radius of where your current families are from, again, using past experiences to target your ideal family. And then negative keywords will be your best friend. Yeah. So this is how you stop wasting money on Google Ads. So if I just put preschool into my keyword, you could get anything, right? You could get preschool app, you could get preschool consultant, and these obviously aren't families who are going to be searching that. So you obviously want to, you can put those as negative keywords. So whenever anyone puts your search term and plus app or plus something that's not what you want, then just take it out. And then what you can do is you can actually use, they're called search terms. you can see what people have searched in order to get and click on your ad. So if you see things and you're like, well, that's not what I want, you can just take them off. So that's going to save you a hell of a lot of money. And then the last rule for creating the perfect ad, just use all the characters they give you. Again, it's all, well, it's not free because you pay, but you don't pay per letter here. They've used a lot. They've used a lot. They've actually used, everything. Our centers, our programs, book with tour, CCS, all that kind of stuff. Use every single thing that they give you. Okay. So now we're on to Facebook. So I put Facebook and Instagram together just because it's owned by Facebook. And other tools you can use for both. So again, we'll start with organic. So when you're posting, it's important to think that you don't need to create everything. For me, I would say just document your center. So what do you do? How do you think? Obviously relate that to your philosophy and who you are. Like engagement, a really, really easy way to get engagement and to get people liking, sharing and commenting on your posts is to put your staff members up and put your educators up, because people love people. And then what I do sometimes as well is, if a family gives me a good review, I'll pop that up. Because again, when you're looking at consideration, someone might see your ad and instead of clicking on your website, they might click on your page. And if they can see reviews there, then that's going to entice them to go towards your website. Some little tips, or some people like to call them hacks, for getting more reach. If you're on Instagram, you can use up to 30 hashtags. So again, if you've got 30, use 30, it's free. And put a location in there. It can be your center location, and it can be your suburb, it could be surrounding suburbs, whatever. Test it out and see what works. With Facebook, you can put hashtags. They're not going to get a lot of reach. But again, it's free. So use 3 to 5 hashtags, put a location in there, similar type of thing. And if you have the time, that this is quite time consuming. So again, if you don't have the time, don't feel the need to use it. In terms of outreach, so there's this thing called the $1.80 strategy, which is putting your 2 cents in 90 times a day. So yeah, you go on the hashtags that you use, find the top posts, and just comment on them. If you see an activity from another center and you like that, just type a comment in and say, oh, I love it. Like, how did you get the kids to do that? Or how did you make this piece of apparatus or whatever? It's just reaching families who potentially, maybe wanting to move to another service. Let's say they only do 0 to 3 and their kid's 3, they need another service for a 4-year-old, then you've got that awareness there. So again, some free tools you can use there. One is Facebook Creator Studio, which is obviously through Facebook. So you can post all your posts in advance, save a hell of a lot of time, and not have to worry. They call it batching. If you just created 30 days of content in one day, you never have to worry about it for the rest of the month. And the other free tool is called Inflect, which is it auto generates hashtags for you. So if you put in your suburb, it would tell you all of the top hashtags that people use for your suburb in it. And obviously if you put in your service, similar thing. And again, they're all linked. So when I send you the PDF, obviously go and do that. So the paid stuff from Facebook and Facebook ads, and the ads do go to Facebook and Instagram, obviously, if you are worrying or wondering about that. So there's 3 levels. Again, I'll not get too deep into it. This one is a lot easier than Google Ads. So you don't have to get so far into it, but again, just keep it simple. So when you start a campaign, as they call it, it'll come up with this thing here. So create a new campaign. You can choose lead generation or you can choose conversion. Both of those just mean I want people to click the button on my website, and that's it. Set your budget, keep it simple, and then it'll come up with they call it the ad set. It's basically just the audience. So choose your locations, the suburbs that your families are from, pick the interests, they might be interested in. When we looked at the ideal family and there was brands and influencers, if there's any baby brands that they like, you can pop them in, and then that they're parents of a young child. So, and another great tool is you can create what's called a lookalike audience, which is basically, if you've got a bank of, let's say, 500 parent emails from the last 5 years or whatever, you can put that into Facebook, and basically it just generates something that says, this is the audience. I want you to target everyone who looks like these people, and who acts like they do online. So obviously, if they go to those baby brand websites, if they go on YouTube to show their kids some cartoons and stuff, Facebook says, oh, well, you do the same thing on the internet, so you must be a family of a young child, so we'll show that to you as well. So that's great for not having to do anything. That's essentially creating your ideal family for you, by using your past experiences. So, and then the third one would be to retarget. So retargeting just means you tell Facebook, whoever's visited my website in the last, you can choose 30 days, 60 days, or 90 days. Whoever's visited my website, then show them my ad. Because if they've already considered, but let's say they've got distracted, you show them it again and they go, oh yeah, I was supposed to enquire there, so I'll do it now. And that these two, the lookalikes and the retargeting, they'll get you a lot of should get you a lot of enquiries. And then the last one is just the ad level. So whatever the advert is, you can use a single image, which would just be this, or you can use a carousel. So that's like, I think I've got like 4 images there about the different areas of what OWNA's app does, like family engagement, center management, CCS and billing, things like that. So I would say create 2 adverts, test them against each other, and then after a few days, just turn off the ad that's performing worse. So you can get your most like return on investment there. And again, you can choose $1 a day, $20 a day, whatever you want. So yeah, that's obviously personalized there for you. Okay, so we've started from the bottom and we've designed the funnel in what we think is going to be amazing, and it's going to get loads of referrals and inquiries and all that kind of stuff. But now we need to go back down and test and refine, because as good as it is, it could always be better. So yeah, what we're going to do is we're going to work up, and now, work up, and now we're going to work back down, refining as you go. So again, for this stuff that we just did, the social media stuff and then the stuff through Google, it's all about testing. So with your social media, if you are looking at the organic stuff and you're posting, then, sorry, let's go back there. And if you're posting, use different post types. It could be a video, it could be an image, it could be a graphic of like a quote or something. Post them at different times throughout the day. See what gets the most reach, see what gets the most engagement, and then get your top posts. Like, let's say test it out for a month and use your top posts and say, right, okay, I'm going to post them at that time. I'm going to post them this kind of image, and then see what works that way. And then for the paid stuff, you're looking at how many leads am I getting in and how many clicks am I getting. So obviously leads being someone clicking on your button. Leads and conversions is always the priority, but it's, if by chance you actually get no leads, then judge it by clicks, because it could be, as you say, well, as I said, we're working our way down. If they're getting lots of clicks but no leads, then it's probably a problem with your website. So yeah, go leads first, the priority. If not, then go clicks. Similar for Google. You want to look at what's called a click-through rate. So let's say 100 people searched for your search term that you're paying to be seen. If 100 people see your ad, but only 12 people actually click on the ad and go to your website, that's a 12% click-through rate. So yeah, test the copy, test the keywords, test everything. Create 2 ads and then delete one with the one with the lower click-through rate. And then your conversions and stuff on there will be all based on your website. But for Google ads, you just want to look at your click-through rate. And they call it like the 100 click rule. So if yours is doing bad, but it's only had like 20 clicks, don't judge it too early. Wait until someone's clicked on it 100 times before you wipe it off. And again, as I said before, use the search terms, because now that you've had it for like a week, people are searching and people are clicking. So you're testing and refining that, you're taking away those keywords. So don't show it to people who put in daycare app, things like that. So then your website stuff, testing and refining, as I said before, use Hotjar, use Google Analytics to see your bounce rate. You can do the conversion rate. It takes a fair bit of setting up, but again, if you've got the time, then do it, because it will help you out a lot. And again, this will have an effect on your ad spend and your search results. So, if you're going to look to maximize your return on investment, then yeah, that'll be the one to go for. And again, your Google My Business listing, reply to reviews. Like obviously, people who are looking they probably look at the reviews as much as they probably then look at the replies to the reviews. If you're being nice, and let's say there's a bad review, if you're then nice to the person who's made the bad review, they'll be like, oh well, they seem pretty good. Number one rule: don't argue with anyone in the reviews or anyone in a public space, including online. And obviously make sure all of your information's up to date. I know things are changing each day with this COVID stuff, so yeah, just make sure everything's up to date. Okay, so the bottom of the funnel stuff, your enquiry forms. As I said before, are you using too many fields? You can use Hotjar to see someone filling it out, getting bored halfway through and leaving, so you can go, right, I'll chop that down. Again, with the conversion, how many people are inquiring and how many people are actually booking tours and how many people are actually enrolling? Is there something happening in between that's surprising you and saying, well, why aren't we actually enrolling? Is it something to do with the tour we did? Why aren't the booking tours? Are we not calling them fast enough? Are they going to other services? And then the advocacy stuff. This is obviously you guys like providing the best service possible. Obviously, I don't have a right to tell you what to do. You know your families, you know your service, so you obviously just do your thing. But there's a couple of things you can do, like emailing out and saying, can you give us a review on Google? There's certain loyalty rewards for re-enrolment. I don't know, in terms of discounts, or possibly, like we said, the brands and influencers before, you could say a re-enroll will give you a $50 gift card to Kohl's or something like that to do your shopping. And same with referrals. Refer someone. If they mention your name, you'll get a gift or money off or something. There's so many things you can do there, and I think this is probably going to be, given that the services are such a community-based thing, this is going to be something that you'll really, really, really utilize, and would help you through every single stage of the funnel. So just to recap, these are the tools, all free tools or free versions at least, that you can use. Facebook and Google ads for your paid stuff, Google My Business for your listing, Facebook Creator Studio for your social media posts, Hotjar and Google Analytics for your website, and Mailchimp for your emails, and of course OWNA, which I'll talk a little bit about. In terms of enrolments, so we have, if you are using OWNA, if you haven't got an enquiry form yet, they are free, so ask for one. It'll basically sit on your website, and what you can do is you can link it up to your staff communication diary. So you can put in a staff communication diary and say, well, we're open for tours now in this time. You can put that in your enquiry form. When they put it in, they can actually book the tour. They can like click on the link, and it shows them the available times to book the tour. So when we're talking about the conversion and kind of taking the legwork out of actually having to call them, if they could immediately say, well, I want a tour, and then at the exact same time it says, well, what time do you want? And they say, oh, well, if you're available then and I'm available then, I'll just click that. And then that's it. They've booked the tour. Obviously, you get in touch with them anyway, but it takes the selling stuff out of it. We'll also have enrolments and waitlist forms, which are available for purchase for a small fee. And then with the waitlist forms and stuff as well, as I said before, in integration to Mailchimp for your waitlist management. And again, obviously, if you're using the free version of Mailchimp, that's going to be of no financial cost to you. And obviously, with the post, and we create a great family experience for re-enrolments, reviews, and referrals. And likewise, if obviously you want to review OWNA online, we would appreciate that as well. So yeah, that's everything I've got at the minute. I think I kind of, what are we on, like 45 minutes, but I did kind of rush through everything. If anyone has any questions, feel free to let me know in the chat now, and I'll try and answer them as best as I can. But if not, I'm happy for you guys to email me, or yeah, get in touch whatever way you want. So yeah, did I cover everything that you guys thought that I was going to cover, or is there anything else? I'll just wait for people to type if anyone's gonna type. So Emma, it'd be great if OWNA allowed centres to adjust the questions on the enrolment form via the app to be specific to their centre. Is this something that can be offered in the near future? I wouldn't want to give you a promise and say that it is. I'll definitely bring it up with the team, because it is something that we're looking at in terms of, because now is the enrolments time, and we've got our development teams expanded. We've got time to really focus on the enrolment side of stuff. So I'll definitely put that in the feature request, and the enrolment side of things is definitely going to be something that we are working on. So likewise, anyone else, if you've got any suggestions about that kind of stuff, put them in the chat or send them to the support team. Happy to send that on to the development team and obviously update you guys. Matthew, you'll receive the recording in an email. I'm basically going to get this, download it on my computer and just send it straight out. So you'll get it in the next kind of half an hour, I would imagine. So Sandra, in terms of manipulating Google SEO, for me, I feel like it's something that is, the algorithm always changes, and I don't like the idea of quick hacks and this and that, because what happens today might not happen tomorrow. I feel that that SEO stuff is leaning more towards, and it has been just leaning more towards user experience. So my approach is usually that, I'll just create the best experience I can in the website, and then you'll do little things like keyword stuff, but the number one goal is just to make the website the best it can possibly be to solve, the problems that your families are facing. Okay, Emma. Yeah, well, that's it. Again, when you mentioned that, some questions aren't needed, obviously that would increase your conversion if you can take away those questions. So, and then obviously, yeah, if you need more specific info, that would take some of the legwork away for you. So Candace, do I have a recommended view these tutorials for learning on certain areas, e.g. a new admin person or a new staff member? And what order should they watch these? Yeah, it's something that is, so we've been uploading them to YouTube. And what it does is it does it by like the order of like when it's being created. And it's annoying because I would like to have it in the specific order. Peter, the onboarder manager, he's working on some new ways to get them specifically in order. And I think we're actually leaning towards potentially creating a course that'd be a couple of hours long, and we'll have different sections for each one. So one might be admin, and one might be about a new staff member and just the basics of the educator app. So yeah, I would say watch this space on that one. I think I've answered everything. If anyone, if anyone has anything else, feel free. If not, feel free to jump off. Okay, right. I think that's me then. Yeah, as I said, if you did want to ask something, then yes, Candice, I am emailing out the recordings and the slides and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, if you've got any more questions, if you are frantically typing away to get your question in there, I'm probably going to leave now. So feel free to just shoot me an email. Yeah, I'll see you guys later.